Thank you for joining me. My name is Kimberly Holbert. Today we are going to touch on a couple of different things on how to reset your focus on nutrition. A couple of different things, how to manage social gatherings for both holidays and throughout the year, how to reset your focus after your health is kind of fallen off the wayside. I'm going to touch on a couple different ways that you can recenter your focus, not just for now, but throughout the year, and how to jumpstart your health goals. A lot of times during holiday seasons, life gets busy. We tend to forget about ourselves and our health, and we're focusing on other things like Christmas, New Year's, etc. So I'm going to touch on some ways to reset your focus on that. So for those of you who don't know me, let me just click to the next slide. My name is Kimberly Holbert. I am the founder and CEO of Sufrasini Health Coaching Company. I am a certified nutrition coach and a board-certified nutrition nurse practitioner. Sorry, it's still a little early. I have over 10 years of experience in the field. I am also a dog mommy to my lovely Samuel, who is taking a nice little nap behind me, wrapped up in his blanket. And I am an avid weightlifter. For those of you who don't know, I've been doing it for about 9 years now. So that's enough about me. Let's get into it. So the 4 key points, let me move my camera over here so you guys can see a little bit better. The 4 key points to how to navigate and manage holiday and other social gatherings is to prioritize physical nourishment, because I have found that when you become a more balanced eater, you become more intentional about your food choices. And when you're more intentional about your food choices, you are able to then eat food for enjoyment without having to feel guilt. And then hydration, because of course our bodies are 70% water. Hydration is always going to be a key factor in everything. And then being in the present moment. Food should not be the priority thing on your mind when you're out spending time with other people at social gatherings. You should be worried about the present moment, being there with others, and not worried about food. Okay? So let's go into a little bit more detail with these key points. So when eating for physical nourishment, you are going to prioritize what you are actually eating and understanding why. Are you eating something because emotionally it makes you happy? Or are you eating something because you know it's good for you and that those food choices are going to make you feel good? They're going to give you the energy that you need to go about your everyday functions, etc. So on the left side here, you can see we have a generalized plate setup and then a perfect example of what that Christmas plate is going to look like on the right-hand side. First and foremost, when you go into gatherings, I always say prioritize filling half of your plate up with vegetables. I want you to get all the fibers in, because once you are eating the foods that perhaps are a little bit more yummy, if you're not a huge vegetable person, you at least know you got your vegetables in. Those are going to do 2 things. It's going to give you the micronutrients, all the vitamins and minerals that your body needs to function and flourish. And it's going to give you all that fiber, and the fiber is going to help fill you up. So ultimately you end up eating less calories. You're still eating the foods that you enjoy. You're not having to have any off-limit foods, but you prioritized your vegetables and your fibers so that once you do get to those fun foods, you're eating moderated portions of it. The next thing I want you to do is fill up 1/4 of your plate with protein. Now, whatever protein source that is. Obviously, Christmas dinners, if it's traditional, you're going for ham, turkey. If you're a steak family, chicken, duck. I know I'll be cooking duck for Christmas. I don't care what it is, as long as it's a solid protein source and you want to fill up 1/4 of your plate. This is where I see a lot of people have a hard time with. I think that most people in general undereat protein. So again, this is going to be a big priority for setting your plate up. And then you can go for the starchy carbohydrates, whether that's mashed potatoes, whether that's your stuffing, pasta, your rolls, breads, butters, all of that. The butter would count in the fats category, of course. And with this small portion, last but not least, of fats, just understand that a lot of the foods will already contain fats. So for example, if you're you're eating a creamy pasta dish, the cheese that was made or the heavy cream that was made in that pasta, that's already your fat source. Or if you're putting butter on your bread, that is your fat source. Avocado is a really healthy source of fat. Don't know a lot of traditional Christmas meals that contain avocado, but just for saying. But for people who say cook the vegetables in oil or butter, again, your fats are a lot of times already included, so just be aware of that. Again, this isn't saying that you can't have extra fats or extra starches. This is just a general plate setup of how you can visualize going into your meals so that once your plate is set up, you can sit down, enjoy the food, and then again, not have to worry about it, and you can spend time being present with others. And of course, last but not least, the dessert over here on the side, because we all know dessert is the best part around Christmas time because everyone likes to bake all those yummy treats. Again, just focusing on eating your protein and veggies first and then work your way around everything else. Not to say that you can't enjoy it, just be cognizant of what's on your plate and what you're eating. So you can see this great setup right here. They've got about a quarter of their plate with turkey. They've got their vegetables right here. You've got your starchy carbs. Cranberry sauce is tricky because it's a fruit, but when making the sauce, a lot of times it requires a lot of added sugars. So I would add that on the starchy carbohydrates, and then of course your dessert on the side. Okay, so again, let me move my camera for you guys. So going into a little bit more detail about staying hydrated, this is pretty simple, but it's something that's often overlooked. Holiday seasons, even if you're not a big drinker, a lot of people will have a cocktail or two, maybe break out a nice bottle of wine. Just keep in mind that alcohol does induce dehydration, and so one little trick that I do when I'm out is for every one alcoholic drink I have, I make sure that I follow it with 1 glass of water, and I won't have that second drink until I've completed that glass of water. And that does 2 things. That ensures that I'm replacing my fluids because that one alcoholic drink is going to dehydrate me. Hence the reason why you pee more when you drink alcohol. And it slows down my alcohol consumption because also going into alcohol consumption is, what does alcohol do? It lowers your inhibitions. It decreases your self-control. And so all those sweet treats that are sitting out, you might become more prone to eat them. So just the art of spacing those drinks out a little bit can actually help with having more self-control around food as well. Now, staying hydrated doesn't just mean drinking straight water, although water is the easiest route. It's free, comes from a spigot. You can do other things such as herbal teas like chamomile, mint teas. Just be aware that black teas and green teas are caffeinated, so they are going to actually induce dehydration just a little bit, kind of like alcohol does. Fruit infused water is a good way to go if you want to get fancy with it. If you are the one hosting a dinner party, if you have one of those jugs that you can dispense the fluids from, you can fill it up with water and ice, chop up some orange, cucumber, and lemon. That's one of my favorite combos, and make some nice infused water for your guests. And diet soda. I don't know why diet soda gets a bad rap. It doesn't cause cancer. It's definitely a lot healthier than drinking regular soda. So feel free to use that in your fluids. Diet soda, it's relatively calorie free, and it's a lot better than drinking regular soda, like I said. Moving on to being present. I think this is something that gets overlooked a lot. Like I said earlier, I think that when you're at a social gathering, it's important to be there, to be present in the conversation, to be present with the people around you, and not focused on, oh my God, am I going to lose self-control? I've done so good up until now. I've lost all this weight. Am I going to completely lose self-control? When you are more present in the moment, you have focused on nourishing yourself for health and staying hydrated and all the other things that we've talked about thus far. This is going to be like the cherry on top. So being present in the moment when you're with people, first and foremost, go into it. How hungry are you? If you're fixing a plate for yourself and you just ate an hour before, be wary of how much food you're putting on your plate, because are you going to be hungry enough to eat it all? Unfortunately, it's a thing where you put the food on your plate, even if you're not that hungry, you see it on the plate in front of you, you're more prone to eat all of it, even though you're not that hungry. So pay attention to your hunger and fullness cues. How hungry are you? And please don't be one of those people who starves themselves all day saying, oh, I'm not going to eat anything because I'm going to eat my heart out when I get there. That is just a guarantee for you to overeat way too fast and then feel miserable and end up with a headache and a stomach ache the rest of the evening. So the day leading up to whatever holiday gathering you're going to, it's perfectly fine, and I highly recommend to eat small meals throughout the day. Again, prioritize protein. Make sure you get all your protein in so that once you get to the dinner, you can enjoy those foods that bring you happiness. You can enjoy some of those sweet treats knowing that you have already gotten a lot of protein in for your day. Then once you actually get down with your food, you sit down at the table, pay attention to the food you're eating. What does it smell like? What does it look like? What are the colors you're seeing? What does it taste like in your mouth? What are the sensations that you get? Is it sweet? Is it salty? Is it sour? Is it savory? Take notice of those things so you really, really enjoy your food, so that when you do eat it, whatever it is, you have a better appreciation for it. And taking that time, just enough time to slow down and pay attention to what you're eating, actually gives your brain more time to adjust to the cues from your belly, and you can feel fuller sooner without going past your full point and feeling miserable. Okay. Next. All right, moving on. Once Christmas is over with, how are you going to reset your focus? This is a big part for me. A lot of my clients, when I first sign them on, will always come in with wanting to see a specific number on the scale. What I want you to do, if you're in this spot right now where you're really overwhelmed, you hate the way you look, you hate the way you feel, and you just want to get back to that very specific number, I want you to take a second and just sit with that number and ask yourself, why do you want that specific number? For example, say that I wanted to weigh 140 pounds. When I step on the scale, I want to see 140. Why is it that I want to see 140? It's not the number. The number really doesn't matter. The number is what signifies something much, much more deeper. That number signifies how I felt when I used to weigh 140 pounds. Perhaps I was more confident. Perhaps that number correlates with me having more energy. If I had kids, maybe that number meant when I was that size, I was able to keep up with my kids more. I was taking them to the park and I was running around with them. Things like that. It's not the number. You have to figure out what that number signifies, and you need to prioritize that. You can go into setting a goal with other measurable goals outside of I want to weigh this specific amount. You can set that goal of I want to have more energy. I want to look in the mirror when I'm naked and I really want to appreciate and love what I see. That's a big one for a lot of people, including myself. I used to hate what I saw in the mirror. I didn't want to see myself naked because I didn't like what I saw. I was ashamed of my body. I was not proud of it. And so when I went on my weight loss journey, I made it a point to say, okay, I'm going to start looking at all these other things outside of the scale because those are measurable too. And that's what I tell everyone to do. And that's what I'm telling you to do today. Prioritize your physical health, how you feel. What is your brain telling you? How do you feel? If you're skinny, but you're miserable because you can't go out with your friends, you can't eat certain foods because you've restricted yourself so much for so long, are you really happy at that number? Let's focus on a lot of other things outside of that number to help really maintain your focus. And those are the more important things that when times get tough and you are on your weight loss journey, you'll think back to what you want to feel, how you want your body to feel, and those are going to stick a lot more than just a number on the scale. Moving on to creating realistic and sustainable short-term goals. So when you want to get something done, you want to first have a vision. What is the long-term way down the road? What is that end goal? Say you want to lose 100 pounds. All right, that's cool. That's perfectly fine. But what are you going to do to get to those 100 pounds lost? That's a lot of time. That's a lot of energy. That's a lot of effort. And if you just set that 100-pound goal, it's going to be overwhelming. You're going to be 2 weeks in, only down 2 pounds, 3 pounds maybe. And you're going to see that long-term 100 goal and you're like, man, that's so far away. And you're going to give up because it's overwhelming. It feels like it's too much to bear. It feels like you're never going to get there. So what you need to do is have that vision, have that long-term goal, but also break that down into really, really short-term goals. Okay, long-term goal, I want to lose 100 pounds. Okay, so what can I do first? Okay, well, let's first set a 10-pound goal. Okay, that sounds great. Let's set something on top of that 10-pound goal. Let's do it something outside of just weight, outside of just a number on the scale. How about I also want to be able to climb 2 flights of stairs without being completely winded? How about I want to be able to run a 20-minute mile? Add those on to that 10-pound goal so that we can break this up into smaller increments. Depending on where your starting point is, depending on your lifestyle, losing 100 pounds could take years. It will take years if you do it in a sustainable way. So let's break it down into 1-month increments, 3-month increments, 6-month increments, and then start working on those really short-term wins so that you can build that motivation. You can build that motivation. You're not always going to be motivated, but once you start getting all of those little wins under your belt, that creates the motivation. So don't wait for the motivation to get started. Create the motivation yourself. And then this is a really, really big one. Having a support system in place to keep you accountable. When you start to make a really big life change, losing weight is a life change. When you want to change the way you look on the outside, first you have to change the inside. I will say this until I turn blue in the face. Your outside appearance will not change. If it's temporary, that's one thing. But if you really want to create this deep, sustained change and never go back to where you were before, you have to change on the inside. And when you're willing and ready to take a change on the inside, you have to tell people around you. You might lose friends. Your family members might not agree with you. They may make fun of you for trying to lose weight. They may say that you're too skinny and be completely unsupportive. This may come to a surprise to you, or if you're listening to this, you already know those in your life that have either already given you a hard time about it or will when you start this journey. So before you start out on any of this, you need to sit down to those close to you. So I'm going to use an example. So if you're married, people in your household, because they're the closest ones to you, they can make or break your progress. So if you're married, you want to sit down with your spouse and say, look, soda or cookies or whatever it is, something that when you get around it, you have no self-control. In the very beginning, when you're trying to make changes, you may have to keep that stuff out of the house in the beginning until you can learn to have more self-control around those things. You're going to have to sit down with your spouse and your children or your roommate or your sibling or whoever it is that you're living with and say, look, I need your help. I'm very serious about this goal and I need your support in this. And so I need you to not buy soda at the store or not keep this in the house. And I'm going to clean out the cupboard and take away all the junk food. And a lot of times when this happens, this ends up being a whole family, a whole household change, which honestly isn't a bad thing. But they have to be on board at least in the beginning. If not to say they're not ready and willing to make the change themselves, they can have those things outside of the house, but say that they love you enough that they will support you. And if that's not the case for you, if your family's not on board, your friends aren't on board, you can always seek accountability on the outside. Not to say that you can't be your own accountability partner, because you can, but you're going to get weak. Times are going to get hard. You're going to lose focus sometimes, and you need at least one person there to back you up. And so if you are looking for professional support, you need to ask yourself this question going in. What is going to be my biggest challenge that I'm going to want that accountability partner to hold me accountable for? Is it going to be that I know I'm going to get tired of exercising 4 times a week and that I'm going to need that person there to make sure that I'm hitting my gym days? Or is it that I struggle with weekend eating and I'm going to have that person there on Friday and they're still going to be there Monday saying, what did you do this weekend? Did you live up to your goals? How did you do? How's your weigh-in? Having someone there at all times to back you up and keep you accountable. And then the last point we're going to touch on today is really closely tied to resetting your focus, and that is how to jumpstart your health. You need to invest. You need to invest in yourself. You need to know that you are your own most prized possession. Your body is your temple, and our time here is limited. Every day that passes is a day that we won't get back. And so if you are ready and willing to do this and you're ready to make the changes, you need to do it now. You need to invest your time now. You need to invest your energy, effort. Everything needs to go into this. This needs to be your focus if you really want to achieve that long-term success. So thinking about long-term success, again, I've touched on this already, but have that big faraway vision, that big long goal. I used losing 100 pounds as an example, but break it down into feasible steps. I know I've shown one of my clients of the really big ladder that had the really far apart steps, and it's really hard just to get to one step because they're so far apart. But if you're taking baby steps that are this big, small, tiny wins, like doing 5 push-ups, running a 20-minute mile, whatever the short-term goal is on top of the long-term goal, just to create that momentum, get things moving. And then please, 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 for the love of God, avoid quick fixes. Please don't do detoxes. They are a waste of your money. We have these really cool things in our bodies called organs, specifically our kidney and our liver. And if you are a healthy person, your kidney and your liver, I promise, they will do the work for you. They detox everything. They're detoxing things as we speak. You don't need any detox teas. You don't need any detox supplements. They are a waste of money. You're wasting your money. I promise you, I guarantee you. And I can say this embarrassingly enough because I used to do them prior to starting my career in healthcare. I did not understand how the human body worked, and so I did all the detoxes, and I promise you, it's a waste of money. They're just trying to get your money. So avoid detoxes, and then all these crash diets, all these fad diets that guarantee 30 pounds lost in 30 days. Please don't do them. It's going to be a very excessive calorie restricted diet. You could probably lose 30 pounds in 30 days, but here's what I promise you. It's not sustainable. You're going to be hungry. That hunger is going to lead to binge eating, which just becomes this vicious cycle. You binge eat, then you feel shame and you guilt, and then so you go back to restricting, and then it just further distorts one's relationship to food and creates this ingrained dysfunction with food that doesn't need to be there. Do something that's sustainable. It's going to take longer, but I promise it'll be worth the effort. And then for free resources, depending on which avenue you are watching this on, I do have quite a few things coming up. Starting on December 27th, we are still in 2021. I'm going to be doing a 5-day Jumpstart to Fat Loss Challenge in my private Facebook group. So if you're not already in the Facebook group, please reach out to me in whichever avenue you can, and I will add you so we can do this. And most likely I will be doing this again next year, depending on how well it goes. And then I have this free resource, how to turn a goal into an action. If you are just really, really stumped, you kind of know what you want, but you have no idea how to get there, reach out to me and I'll send this free guide to you. It's very, very simple. It basically goes through a couple of the things that I talked about today, but makes it really simplified. And this isn't just for weight loss. I mean, this guide can be used if you want to change careers, if you want to move somewhere, whatever challenge, whatever goal you have in your life. If you want to break it down into easy to accomplish steps, please reach out to me and I'll send you this guide. And of course, if you are wanting more accountability and you're ready to start now and you're not going to wait for the new year, you're not going to wait for anything, no more excuses, please reach out to me and schedule your free consultation. I do work one-on-one with everyone. I do provide an individualized nutrition program and a plan. You have access to my coaching program and my app, where you have 24/7 access to me through the chat. And of course, I'm going to provide that accountability and support you need to sustain these results and hit those long-term goals. And if you're still watching this, thank you very much. If you want more information, please go to my website. I have it right here at the bottom, sophrosityhealthcoaching.com. There you can find a contact form to reach out to me. I have a blog with lots of fun recipes on it, and just a lot of really good information in general. So thank you so much for watching, and please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. Have a great day.